Hello again. My name is Mike. I'm a chaplain at Trinity Ministries. I'm also a relationship coach specializing in intimacy and infidelity issues. And today we're going to talk about toxic relationships. How do you know if you're in a toxic relationship? Lots of people use this term, you know, really without knowing the meaning of what a real toxic relationship really is. Something they tend to say when they get mad at the other person and call them toxic or something like that. Uh, Usually this stems from just a disagreement, which that's not a toxic relationship. The toxic relationship goes a lot deeper. A lot of it has to do with narcissism. This is pretty common in toxic relationships. So today I want to go over just a little bit about, is it really a toxic relationship? Do you know what it is? Um, Now, there's always disagreements in a relationship. That's perfectly natural. But toxic relationships tend to go beyond that. Um, so, one of the signs of a toxic relationship is unfair criticism, nitpicking. This person will criticize you over things that really doesn't warrant criticism. Uh, they're very nitpicky. They very want to talk about what, any little thing that you do. They nitpick it, they criticize it. This is, very common in toxic relationships where in a normal relationship, this person wouldn't really, see that big of a deal in it. Attack and blame. Um, they blame you for most everything that's wrong. They're attacking you on a regular basis. You're always have to be on the defensive because this person is constantly rushing forward, coming toward you with something. Um, you know what? Anything you do is never good enough. That's a great indicator of a toxic relationship. Any little thing you do, it's nitpicked, it's criticized, it's never good enough. No matter how much effort you put in, it's never enough. Um, they will always be the victim. Poor me, I'm the victim. They always play this role. Uh, Nothing is ever their fault. They take no responsibility for any of their actions. It's not my fault. It's someone else's fault. I'm the victim here. Um, Chronic anger, big blowups. Now, everybody can get angry, and some things make us angrier than others. But chronic anger is something that this person is always seems to be angry about something. They're always, fired up, ready to challenge you. Uh, Often culminating in huge blowups where something minor happened that really shouldn't have been this, big of a deal, but it's a huge blow up. This person is, ranting and raving and throwing things and, just acting crazy because of something small. Uh, this is a very good sign of toxic relationship. Um, uh, Another big indicator is how they treat other people. Um, for instance, when you go out to dinner, how do they treat the wait staff? Are they rude? Do they treat them like they're beneath them, that like they're low class or something like that? They don't speak to them in a courteous manner. Uh, this is a great indication the way they view and treat other people. Like I said, a lot of these traits are also narcissists. Although toxic relationships ain't always with a narcissist, lots of times they are. So you'll see these traits. Um, a chronic lack of empathy. They have very little empathy for other people, and even including animals. Uh, for instance, you may see you know, someone in a wheelchair and, trying to do a task, and you may feel a little pity for this person, and people with good hearts do feel pity for these people because they have a very hard life, and they have a hard time doing simple things that the rest of us do for take for granted that we do every day. So you may have empathy for this person in a wheelchair, where your partner doesn't. Your partner doesn't bother to hold the door for them, or really do anything out of their way to make this handicapped person's life better. And I'm talking about somebody you may see at the grocery store, or whatever. And I mean, I automatically, if I come out of a store and there's a handicapped person with a walker or a wheelchair or something trying to get in, I don't even think about it. I just automatically hold the door open for this person. They don't have to ask me. And it's just part of courtesy and empathy I have for, this person's situation. Uh, Toxic people, they don't care. They just pretty much ignore it. Uh, this, yeah, this is a big sign. Uh, Excessive insecurity. They're always insecure. Do it my way. It always has to be my way. Uh, I don't care how you feel about it. I don't care what you think about it. It's my way. It's excessive insecurity. They're very insecure about every little thing, especially if there's any kind of criticism directed at them. They do not take criticism, even if it's constructive criticism. Uh, the other thing is manipulation. This is done by guilt tripping. Uh, if you cared about me, that's a big one. They like that. If you cared about me, uh, this is a form of manipulation. This is to manipulate your feelings to get what they want. Uh, they become very good at this, very good. In fact, most people who are being manipulated don't know they're being manipulated. Um, it's kind of like the old saying, brainwashed people don't know they're brainwashed, because if they knew they were brainwashed, they wouldn't be brainwashed. So, you see this in politics and stuff like that all the time. There, people are constantly manipulated, and they don't have a clue. And if you told them, they would, probably cuss you out and tell you you're wrong, and everything else, because when you're being manipulated, you don't know you're manipulated. This is the problem. However, if you learn to see these signs and recognize these signs, you can figure out pretty easy you are being manipulated. Um, these people are often self-centered, very self-centered. Their needs have to be met. Nobody else's needs matter. Their needs are the only ones that matter. Uh, they take and take and take, but they never give back. You know, uh, Years ago, I dated a girl back in my teen years, and I would do things for her, on a regular basis. But over a period of months, I noticed that it was always one sided. I did things for her, and whenever I kind of needed anything, she she was never there. She would never do really. She would never go out of her way to do anything for me. Uh, Safe to say that relationship didn't last too awful long. But you will see this in a lot of toxic relationships. So if you're in this type of relationship, learn to recognize the signs. Um, this is usually a personality trait. It's not something usually that you can coach or counsel out of people. They're kind of this way. And the only way they can have any successful relationship is to find somebody who will tolerate this. Maybe you can tolerate it. That's your choice if you choose to stay. But if you choose to stay, understand what you're going to go through. So you may be okay with that. Again, that's your decision. It's your choice to make. Um, but hopefully you have more self-worth than to stay in the toxic relationship, because you're going to live a life of misery. It's going to take a toll on you, especially the longer it goes on. So hopefully, if you're in this type of relationship, you'll recognize the signs and maybe address these issues and maybe choose to end the relationship, or at least try to vastly improve this person who is toxic. Um, that doesn't usually work, but uh, I wish everybody good luck. I hope this helps somebody who needs the help. Hopefully you don't, but if you do, uh, maybe these things will put you on the right path. I appreciate you watching. You can find us at trinityofchrist.org. Again, my name is Chaplain Mike with Trinity of Christ Ministries. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. God bless.